Hi, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. It's Scrap Buster time and here are just some of my scraps. So I'm going to show you 5 projects that'll take you 10 minutes or less. So get those scraps out and let's get started sewing. First project, a hairband. You'll need a piece of fabric that's 7 inches by 30 inches and make sure it's a 4-way stretch. If it's a 2-way stretch, make sure your stretch is going along your longest edge. So 4-way means it also stretches in the other direction. So have the front side up. So now you want to fold your fabric in half, bringing the raw edges together. And you're going to stitch along your longest edge. You'll do a zigzag stitch because you want that zigzag stitch to stretch with your fabric. Start about 3 inches from this end down here, go in and begin stitching that zigzag stitch. And when you get down to the other end, then you're going to stop stitching about 3 inches from that end. Now begin turning it front side out. Now place the fabric so that the seam is in the center here, because this is going to be the underside of the headband. Now you can leave it like this and then continue to finish it off, or if you wanted, you can fold it in half and then right here at the center tie a knot in it. Now I recommend that you place it around your head. So this goes up here at the top of your head and then pin it to where it feels comfortable. You don't want it too tight or too loose. Now I need to trim a little bit off of mine because it's a little big. I'd rather have too much fabric because it's easy to cut it off than not enough. So I'm just going to fold it in half where the knot is, and I'm going to cut about 1.5 inches off of mine. So I'm just kind of all eyeball that 1.5 inches and cut the ends off. Now you're going to bring the ends together and bring the front sides of the fabric together. And I recommend that you pin it because it's going to be a little hard to handle this stretchy fabric. And go ahead and stitch a 1/4 inch seam across the end. Now at the opening, you want to fold the edges in 1/4 inch, pin it across here, and then do that zigzag stitch all along here. And here it is. It's all done. Wasn't that easy? Here is a really quick pincushion idea. Now you can never have enough pincushions. If you have more than one sewing machine, you want a pincushion at each one. So you will need 2 5.5 inch squares of cotton fabric. Then you're going to bring front sides together and stitch around all the sides, except you're going to leave a small opening so that you can insert the fiber fill. Now the seam width should be 1/4 inch, and make sure you back stitch on each side of the opening. So here's my opening right here. Now before you turn it front side out, make sure you cut the fabric at the corners down to about 1/8 inch wide. Now go through your opening and begin turning it front side out. Now to poke out the corners, you can use something like this. Now this is really pointed, so if you've got something like this, be careful you don't poke through your fabric, or you can even use a chopstick. So just reach in there and begin poking at all of the corners. I'm using polyfill stuffing to put inside of it. So when you get your bag of polyfill, you want to break it into small pieces because you don't want to use huge clumps because it'll make your pincushion really lumpy and you don't want that. So begin inserting it in through your opening, and you want to push the polyfill all the way to the back and start pushing it into the corners first. Then work your way forward, filling in the rest of it. To close up your opening, you want to fold your edges in 1/4 inch. And then with needle and thread, I recommend you do a ladder stitch across here. And if you need detailed instructions on how to do a ladder stitch, the link is below your YouTube screen. So you're basically just grabbing some of the fabric on the top, then going down and grabbing some, and you just keep going back and forth. And there you have a real quick and easy pincushion. Now I'm going to show you how to make an electrical cord holder to keep your electrical cords organized. So all you need is 2 pieces of fabric that are 3.5 by 8.5 and a piece of cotton batting that's also 3.5 by 8.5. Bring your 2 pieces of fabric front sides together and place them on top of your cotton batting. Place pins on 3 edges and then stitch 1/4 inch seam on those 3 edges. Trim your corners down to where the width of the seam is about 1/8 inch. And this helps you to get your corners a little more squared off to where they're not quite so bulky. And you want to make sure you do it on both these corners here. Now turn it front side out. So just go to that opening and begin to push your fabric through so the pretty side of your fabric shows. And then don't forget to poke your corners out if you need to. And then press it flat with your iron. And then at the other end here, you want to turn the opening edges in 1/4 inch, pin it, and then stitch right across here to close it up. Your end here should measure at about 3 inches. So you want a 3-inch piece of 1 inch wide Velcro. Place one side of the Velcro on the back side, and then at the opposite corner, place the other side of the Velcro on the front side, so that when you go to wrap it around your cords, it overlaps like this. And there you go. Here is another really fun, short, quick project, and that's a bookmark. So for this one, you'll need 2 pieces of fabric that are 2.5 inches wide by 8 inches. You'll also need a piece of heavy iron-on interfacing that is 2 inches wide by 7.5 inches long. And you want to put it on the back side of one of your strips of fabric, it doesn't matter which one, and center it in the middle and then fuse it on the back. And just follow package instructions, and it requires a hot iron with steam. You hold it down for about 12 to 15 seconds and then let it dry. Now I'm going to explain to you 2 different ways you could throw this together. If you prefer to just stitch this into a long tube, you could bring front sides together and stitch on 3 sides 1/4 inch seam and then turn it front side out. I have a difficult time turning any kind of long tube like this front side out because of an injury to one of my hands. So I'm going to show you another way that you could do this if you want. Go to your ironing board and fold your edges over on all 4 sides 1/4 inch and press them. Now bring the back sides of the fabrics together and pin them on all the edges. Now you're going to need about 3 strips of ribbon. This is optional, you don't have to do this, but I chose 3 different colors. They're 5 inches long. So just bring the ribbons together. They don't have to be real even or anything. Fold it in half, and they can be going off in different directions. And then you're going to insert it down here at one of the ends of your bookmark. Now stitch around close to the edge on all 4 sides. And to keep the ends of your ribbon from fraying apart, you can use a product by Dritz that is called Fray, and we'll have a link down below where you can get this. Now I'm going to show you how to make a really simple key ring fob. Take a piece of cardboard, really thin cardboard, and draw a circle around it. Now I'm using this little circle template, but you can use a small lid to a jar that's roughly about 3 inches in diameter. Then draw an area up, going straight up like this, that's 2 inches high by 1 1/4 inches wide. Then take your cardboard template, put it on top of a piece on the back side of your fabric, and then just trace around it. Then I like to layer my fabrics together. So I have a piece of cotton batting down here and 2 pieces of fabric, and the fabric should be front sides together. Let me just flip this really quickly. So bring your fabrics front sides together, pin your fabric together, and then cut on your drawn line. Now pin your layers of fabric together, and you're only going to stitch on just this one side right here. Don't stitch over here. So stitch down, around, and then stop at this next little corner. And you're only doing a narrow seam about 1/8 of an inch wide. Then just on the rounded edge, you want to do little short clips, and this helps it to lay flatter when you turn it front side out. After you finished clipping those edges, then you just want to reach inside and turn it front side out. And then place a few pins around your edges here to flatten it. And on this one edge where we didn't stitch, just go ahead and turn those edges in 1/4 inch. Then on all 3 sides, you're going to stitch close to the edge all the way around. Now after you stitched around the edges, what I did a little extra thing. You don't have to do this, but I decided to put my initial on it. So I just freehand drew the letter S and used a satin stitch to stitch right over my drawn line. Now I'm using just a regular key ring, and you can buy these at a lot of your craft stores, and I bought my key ring at Walmart. Insert it over the end and then fold it over and tuck this edge under like that, and then stitch across the bottom. And then it's all done. So this was really a nice, short, quick little project. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you try some of these little projects. You really want to start using up those scraps. Don't forget to check below your YouTube screen for other video links. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and check out my Facebook page. Thanks for watching, and happy sewing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click on the thumbs up button. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, click on that red subscribe button down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Click on the bell so you can receive notifications about my latest videos. I'm Cheryl, and this is Scotty, and this is Manny. See you next time, and happy sewing!